Hello everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to, well, what we were doing before, which was, the AI match in the Rise of Rome mod. Yeah, last time we were really checking out some major conflicts and stuff going on. Some of the, old empires actually have, been defeated, but some of them have not. Rome itself is gone. Carthage is actually hanging on quite well for itself. Same with the Ptolemaic kingdom down here. They're doing quite well. They're actually invading parts of Turkey right now. Mind you, so is the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union is doing extremely well, which is a bit scary. They're forming themselves into quite the superpower, and they're quite possibly unstoppable if they continue on the way they're going. Although they don't have much on the front line here, neither does Poland, to be totally fair. But I'm wondering if maybe like if the Germans can hang on, if the Germans might be able to push them back. But most of the Soviet troop push and stuff has been in the Middle East and stuff like that, attacking Iraq and other such countries here. They actually, I think they puppeted Iran entirely. Now it's a communist country, so it's kind of crazy. And they're pretty close to breaking down Turkey. I mean, they're outside of Ankara, so it's a bit, it's entirely possible. Ptolemy Kingdom only has like 3 units. Wow, that's pretty bad. I mean, like, yeah, the Nabateans have 3 as well, which is kind of hilarious. So, yeah, the old school kingdoms, they aren't doing overly well, but I mean, you have like Sparta that's doing okay. The Greek city-states have held on. They were pushed back right to Izmir at one point, and they've kind of they've managed to hang on. Same with Seleucid. The Seleucid kingdom actually they have quite a few units, or no, they have this area here, and Turkey's getting beat down pretty hardcore. I don't think Seleucid has anything really left. So that sucks. Sucks for them. But yeah, Carthage and stuff, they were going through quite the conflict with Spain, and Spain is having issues with France and having issues with Portugal. By the looks of it, the Carthage is having multiple issues and stuff like that. So if we click on Carthage here, yeah, they've got 5 units apparently, but man, are they some good 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they only have 5 units in armies. The rest of them must just not be in armies, which is weird. So yeah, they're defending Carthage quite well. Syracuse as well was at war with the Italians, and the Italians are kicking their ass. So we're going to unpause it here. So the Italians are actually pushing them way down. So Syracuse had like a good chunk. They were almost to Naples, I think, for a while. And then they just got beat down. They should be able to defend their actual island and capital and stuff, but remains to be seen how that'll work out. Now in Asia, this is where the real meat is kind of happening. You have Japan, who is who is actually quite powerful, fighting the Soviets, who are actually pushing them back now. They did have a line close to the Soviet border, but the Soviets have been pushing in and taking the Republic of China kind of back. Oh, there's a peace conference. Macedonia and Turkey were puppeted. So Turkey is now a puppet of the Soviet Union. And so that means Macedonia is also puppeted by the Soviet Union? Is that how that works? Macedonia is in the Comintern, and it is a puppet nation. So that's interesting. During the Soviet Union. Oh, dang. Well, that's interesting. Soviet Union declared war on the Ptolemaic. Turkish declared war. Oh, shit, that's not good. Wow, okay. So the Soviets are actually gaining quite a lot of power. So, I mean, if the Soviets accepted, well, that's good. So faction-wise, the Comintern has, like, a massive lead on everybody else. Absolutely huge lead. The Allies are just barely hanging on. It's really just Britain and the Commonwealth that is currently in the Allies. The Axis as well is probably the second most powerful. Well, there's just not a lot of Axis countries. I mean, you have the Italians, you have the Germans, you have the Finns who are losing desperately here, and you've got Japan and this like Manchuria and stuff like that. But everything else is in the Comintern, except for the Chinese United Front here, the poor sons of bitches. Yeah, so the Comintern is like the most powerful faction by a long shot. I'd be interested to see how they would react to the United States. The United States is invading Mexico, I do believe. So, here we go to Mexico. Yeah, they are. So they're invading Mexico. Apparently the United States only has 1 unit in an army, though, which is very friggin' strange, because they have definitely more than 1 unit. I mean, it's the United States we're talking about here. But they're also at war with Canada, although that line hasn't moved. The line for Mexico has kind of moved. There's another peace conference. Oh, Iraq surrendered. I expected that to happen, to be totally honest. So Iraq is now a puppet of the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union is basically just trying to satellite state stuff. So they've taken land in here, but they're definitely on a puppet, which is interesting. I mean, the Americans are at war with the Soviet Union, so although world tension is actually quite low right now, which is weird. It's 30% right now, so it's kind of strange. But yeah, the Soviets, they just really like to puppet stuff, apparently. It's I don't know why they just like to puppet stuff, but they're trying to push into Poland, and it's kind of working. And oh my god, Nabatea, Jew dynasty, Nabatea. So the Soviets declared war on Nabatea as well as the Ptolemy Kingdom. There's no real invasions going on here. Nobody's really doing much, but everybody's just kind of on this defensive end. Like, nobody really wants to move. I mean, Saudi Arabia has issues already with Qataband and Oman, which is probably not great. Though Oman has its own troubles. Although Oman is kind of winning on that front. So Carthage joined the Axis. Oh, shit. So Carthage joined the Axis. Carthage probably being one of the more powerful old empires that exists right now. Which is pretty crazy. Oh, shit. So the Seleucid-Soviet War. So that's pretty interesting there. Again, the Seleucids are technically still alive. And they're actually planning an invasion into this other square. Wow. That's interesting. German Reich has joined Carthage in the Punic-Spanish War, so that means that they are now at war with France? Yes, so they're now at war with France. Although, apparently now they're not at war with France. What? They're not an aggression pact with France, but they're at war with France. Japan joined Carthage, so that means Carthage will be going to war with France once the Spanish War kind of clears up. I guess it's a good thing for Carthage they're not at war with the Portuguese right yet. And the Italians joined Carthage, so they have a good alliance in Europe. So if they can manage to actually like beat down France between Italy, the Germans, and Carthage, they could have a pretty strong alliance here to go against the Comintern if they can actually pull off the defeat of France, because France is actually pretty damn strong. Like they've built up a good army and stuff, and they haven't moved on the lines here very much, with the exception of Dunkirk and Calais being lost to the Brits. There's not much movement here, so nobody's really trying to invade them because they're worried about other conflicts. So they've really been able to focus on Spain, which means that they'll be able to focus on Carthage. So if the Germans don't immediately start invading France to help out Carthage, it's going to be bad for everybody involved. But hopefully nothing happens. But anyway, Madrid is very close to being taken by Carthage. If Carthage is smart enough, then they'll be able to take that pretty quickly. Thrace just joined the People's Republic of China. That's fine. I love what's called the Seleucids. Oh, Antonia was... oh, Spain surrendered. Carthage just took a fuck ton of shit. Sparta just declared war on Greece. Even though Sparta is Greece. I just find that funny. The Sparta's fighting for their lives, though. They're actually... they're winning on 2 and losing on 1, but like they have a lot of enemies, and the Turks are one of them, which is not good for them, because the Turks are actually quite powerful. Oh shit, Nicaragua and Portugal joined the Comintern! Oh, that's not good. So Carthage and Portugal are going to go at it, but hold on. So Nicaragua is at war with Honduras, but they're not really invading Honduras. But Panama is actually fighting back against Nicaragua. They actually have some troops, which is interesting. They're fighting Colombia, who's fighting Ecuador, and Venezuela by the looks of it, and Peru. So hopefully they won't be able to invade them too harshly here. You know, just defend here. But Panama could, like, come back. That would be interesting. Nobody's really invading here, though. The Honduras line is stopped. I don't even know if Honduras has any troops. They don't have any troops. They have no units. You could literally just take this unit and walk into their capital and win. I hope Mexico just does that. Just finish them off, you know? Like, just kill them. Just end this war. End it. It's getting depressing. Africa, meanwhile, nothing's really happening. Portugal's lost a bunch of their, like, land to them. The United Kingdom is friends with the South Africans. I do believe it's a puppet, is it not? No, it's not a puppet. They're allies. So they're part of the allies, though. So they're not a colony or a puppet. So that's interesting. Yeah, Liberia is all on its own here. I don't think they're at war. No, they're at war with the French. But they could easily take all the French lands here. Like, they could become a massive powerhouse in Africa if they really wanted to. Same with Ethiopia. Ethiopia could become a massive powerhouse in Africa. You could have South Africa, Ethiopia, and Liberia be these huge powerhouses in southern Africa, because there's really not anywhere to get in. There's the Kush. You have to invade through Kush and Ptolemaic Kingdom, or put everybody on a boat to get there, to get here. So, like, they're pretty much uninterrupted for the most part. So they could actually do some pretty hefty damage. But I'm a little bit concerned about Carthage, just because of the Portuguese. They have no troops on that line. They're fighting France. They're winning, to be fair, but they're fighting France, and the Germans are not helping. So that's not good for them. And the Soviets look like they're actually trying to push into Europe now. They're looking a little bit more... yeah, they're just looking a little bit more menacing. And the Comintern keeps gaining people. So they just keep gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining. And it's just not good. However, the Japanese are starting to get on another foot, though. They're actually starting to gain some actual land and stuff here. Oh, good. So Honduras was killed by Mexico. Oh my god, the lag. Wow. Fix accepted. They're not aggression pact. That's great. Who's fighting here? This is the... Mexico. What? No, it's not Mexico. People's Republic of China and the Qi Dynasty, or the Q Dynasty, are fighting the actual China, and there's the People's Republic of China. So you have... I assume this is non-aligned? Yeah, so the Chinese United Front is non-aligned. And then you have the Communists trying to fight them. I feel bad for the Chinese. But this fight's actually starting to come more in favor of the... Oh, shit. The Yan Dynasty just capitulated in favor of China. German Reich is called Mexico as their ally. Wow, there's a... Oh, Mexico joined the Axis. Okay. Finland is called Sparta as their ally. So hopefully... Oh, it's a French war now, so hopefully they're actually fighting at this point. That would be nice. But yeah, this is a really stale front, because both sides have lots of troops committed, and both sides seem to be pushing everybody else back. But it looks like there's a minor surrounding here of some Soviet troops, which isn't going to be good for the Soviets, because losing any troops on this war is detrimental to them. Yeah, because there's a pretty heavy front here against them in Mencuco, or Mencuco. There's a pretty heavy front. There's a lot of troops against them there, which is really bad for them. And then, like, yeah, if the Q Dynasty dies and China gets off its ass and invades these guys here and invades People's Republic of China pretty heavily, they could take the capital, which wouldn't be good. And you can just see Mongolia just move there. Because they're actually pushing them back pretty heavily now. So, fighting here. How's this all going for Carthage? Oops, that's not what I wanted to select. Oh, fuck, no, that's not what I wanted to do. So, Carthage responded to Portuguese aggression by counter-invading, and it looks like they're actually winning. And they're holding the French line. They've surrounded a couple of French tanks and units here. So if they can push into this port, they could take that, and that would be good for them, because they'd push them back to the Pyrenees Mountains, so Andorra area, which is good for them, because they could fight in the mountains, which is going to be harsher for the French. The French aren't putting up much of a fight, either, which is kind of strange. It looks like they've either pulled back units, or a lot of units have been killed. Or they're fighting on another line. So they're reinforcing this line, because if they don't, they'll be invaded. So the French are actually kind of in a bit of a pickle. Everybody around them wants them dead, and 3 of the countries around them are allies with each other. So that's really bad for France. And Portugal's going to get taken over very quickly, I think. Yeah, the Carthage is invading them quite quickly, and Portugal's just... They're... Lisbon is fairly well protected, but like the rest of the country there's nothing in it, so that's not really good at all. But like Portugal itself, like Lisbon is well protected. It's just whether they'll be able to push back or not. That's really the question there. The Germans have begun an invasion of the Netherlands by the looks of it. Started that invasion, but I don't know how far that's really going to go. The Soviets are actually kind of stalled out here. I mean, they're winning against this Polish unit that just kind of popped up here for no reason. But there's no movement on that line, like, at all. And the Kingdom of Kush just declared war on France. France is not having a good fucking day. They're having a very, very bad day. Everybody's just wanting them dead. So, what is going on here? So these guys here, the Berbers, are at war with a lot of people. They're fighting a British invasion here that they're winning, because the British are stupid and only sent 1 ship, and they're winning a fight here against Sfax, but it doesn't look like there's really any land taking or anything of land, so that's kind of interesting. Sparta destroyed Appius, which I didn't really acknowledge earlier, so they've actually taken Appius or Appius. They've took it entirely over, so it's owned by it's now owned entirely by Sparta. So Sparta is in control here, which is interesting. Also, apparently they just took control of an occupied state. Oh, right here. Okay. So they just allowed the Germans to come in there because I think they're allies. Yeah, they are, yeah. So that's interesting. It looks like they're prepping for an invasion of Macedonia, possibly, and Macedonia's fighting the Yugoslavs a little bit here. So there's some little skirmishes going on the border there. There's a lot of wars going on. Apparently Ptolemy has been pushed back a little bit by the looks of it there. They still have 2 units sitting in the port here. And they could take Tel Aviv again. They could attack this stuff here. But apparently they don't want to do that. And the Kush are actually invading from the south. So there's probably no resistance to the Kush in the south. So, yeah. They're just going to continue to walk up. So Ptolemy could die. The Ptolemaic kingdom could die. It's possible. Kush is fighting the Ethiopians now. The Ethiopians look like they tried to kind of come up. Saudi Arabia is getting smushed. The Soviets have decided to actually do something and invade. So that doesn't look good for them because they're pretty close to losing their capital here. They're losing this fight. So if they lose their capital there, I have a feeling they're going to surrender, regardless. And I think the Soviets are actually allies, or at least not at war with Oman and some of those others. Austria destroying the Comintern. That's not good. So we've had a lot of changes of hands here. So what does Europe look like currently? The Europe itself, Western Europe, is definitely Axis controlled. France is losing desperately here. The Comintern with Lisbon there is not doing very, very well. However, it'd be interesting to see once Carthage and Sfax is taken and Carthage and Berbers start to fight. I don't think the Berbers can win, but you never know. Carthage here is actually losing a lot of these battles, but they're trying to get the Portuguese units spread out, I think. Plus, if France dies, which it looks like they probably will lose, they've got a surrounded army here, then Carthage can pretty much just dedicate most of its stuff to fighting Portugal again, which is going to be good for it. It'd be beneficial if these troops here would just take this and join the fighting here, because they can probably turn the tides of this battle here if they took these troops south. Because they could probably wipe this... Oh, fucking lag. Oh my god. They could probably wipe... Don't crash. They could probably wipe this unit out entirely and then reinforce the battle down here. And then probably take Lisbon pretty easily if they really wanted to. But we'll see what happens there. Either way, they're attacking France and winning. Easily winning against France. So I can see France losing, and that's if they even survive long enough for them to get there. Because the British have landed again in Dunkirk and are fighting the Belgians, but they have some troops on the French border, and Paris is literally right there, Britain. You could literally walk into Paris and take their capital and probably capitulate them at this point, honestly, because France is too stupid to move the units that are on the German border to defend their fucking capital and take the British out. Because they could push the British out, and they could probably, at the very least, stalemate this line, but they, yeah, I don't know. 3 other units are surrounded down here anyway. There's not much that's going to happen there. But yeah, Carthage is kind of just stalling the Portuguese entirely. They are invading this place here, Sfax or Sfax. Sfax, I think it's pronounced. They're pretty fucked up because Berbers and Carthage are invading, and like Carthage still has a good amount of troops sitting in its homeland. I mean, if this place falls and they go to war and take Berbers, they're going to own a good chunk of land. They're going to be the most... They are definitely right now the most powerful of the old empires left. Definitely so. The Greek city-states are doing quite well, and Sparta's also doing fairly well overall, but it's definitely... Carthage is by far the best one out of all of them. So yeah. I wonder if... So that's... 2 Carthage units sitting in Anatolia, which is kind of strange, but whatever. So they, I think that's glitched, to be totally honest with you. I think that might be glitched. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, so the Turks aren't doing all that well. The city-states are actually invading them pretty heavily here, so that's really not good for them. No. Take over the Greek city-states. Thank you. So yeah, they're getting invaded. Sparta's invading Macedonia pretty heavily as well. They're actually winning pretty much all their fights. So that's really not good either if they're going to start winning. So the Soviets are definitely starting to really kind of lose here a little bit. Thrace is not in the Comintern, or are they? Oh, it is in the Comintern. Never mind. So Romania is not doing all that well against Thrace. So Thrace could actually get a bunch of land out of this and make themselves more powerful, but we'll see what happens there. So Portugal's getting pushed back pretty damn heavily, too. So I remember last time we looked at Portugal, their land was out to about here, where these 2 units are, like pretty close to a line with the Lithuanian capital, and you can see how they've been pushed in pretty harshly, and the Germans as well are definitely... making some pushes and stuff. The Germans look like they're finally acting against some of their other enemies. It looks like Luxembourg is getting sandwiched. Although Luxembourg has units. Wow. They have like 8 or 9 units, so they might survive. Although they are losing against the Germans here. So, hard to say what'll happen there. Are they winning against the Belgians? No, they are losing. The Belgians have a lot of units too. The British are overwhelming them though. The British are definitely, they pushed in, they've taken, oh shit, they have Brussels, so the Belgians actually, their capital's now Liege. Oh, that's not good. Ooh, shit. That's really not good. Wow. Wow. Looks like the Carthage advance into France is kind of stalled. I mean, they're winning, but it's kind of stalled. It's probably because they're more worried about Sfax and the possibility of Portugal actually pushing them back. I don't think that'll really happen. Again, if these 3 would just take this shit and then invade south, you'd be fine, Carthage, but you're just too goddamn stupid because the AI is retarded to be able to do that, but whatever. The Germans are invading the Netherlands at this point, too, so that's something to keep in mind. The Luxembourg troops are trying their best. Magatook's 1 states. Oman was actually annexed. Oh, shit. And Magan just declared war on those guys. Is Magan a... no, they are not friendly with anybody on their peninsula at all. So they are at war with the Soviets, because the Soviets did annex and puppet the Arabian Assembly. So that's not good. Nabatea's not doing very good either. That's a good chance they'll fall sometime soon. They're losing decisively in their capital, so that's not good. Which leaves the Ptolemaic Kingdom to get just absolutely just fucking just sandblasted, if they so want to. Which would mean that pretty much all of the old empires in Africa and stuff would be gone. Kush would be left. Which, yeah, they're at war with the Soviets, so they're not actually Comintern. So Kush should still be alive. Kutaban or Kataraban is still alive as well. They're old, and Magan is also one of the old ones as well. Greece states and stuff. Well, democratic something took a king called Belgium. Siamese-British War merged with the Belgian-German War. Allies in this war: Siam, German Reich, Venezuela, Nepal, blah blah blah. Whatever. Enemies are UK, British, Malaysia, Canada, South Africa, Australia, and Belgium. So Belgium and the Brits signed a peace deal? Yeah, they have. They signed a peace deal. Or they puppeted them. They have a truce. No, they're not puppeted. They're now in the Allies. Okay, so the Belgians and the UK actually met for a peace deal. So they're actually they're friends now. Oh, the Portuguese just got pushed back. If you remember, they didn't have this, so they just kind of just went south. So the Portuguese are still fighting that line, but yeah. Zaire declared war on the United Kingdom. Oh, so Congo is still alive. That's interesting. They don't have any units, but they declared war. What? They're not at war with the French. That's weird. Oh, now they're at war with the French. Belgium declared war on Luxembourg. So now Luxembourg just has... Oh, lag. Holy shit. Enemies fucking everywhere. So if I go into Belgium... Luxembourg declared war on the Netherlands. Luxembourg, you really shouldn't be doing this. It's not a good idea. Wait, Prius. They're dead. Sorry to tell you, but they died. They kind of died. Oh, they puppeted. Who got puppeted? They did, by the Soviets. Oh, that's not good for Carthage. So Carthage is now actually going to battle Svax and the Berbers. So that's interesting. Oh, the Nabatean Commune. So they have control of this now. So the Soviets have full control pretty much of the Middle East at this point, which is very, very bad for everybody. That's bad for everybody. And they also have Brazil now on there. So they have actual sides there. The Mexicans in the Axis are fighting the Comintern Nicaragua, who is in turn fighting Panama, which is interesting. Is that Jamaica? Allies. Good job, Jamaica. You dumb shits. Mexico's getting invaded by these states, though. So Mexico probably won't last long enough to take Nicaragua. It's just hopeful that, like, the United States, who is democratic, will join the Allies at some point. Would be kind of nice. Except, of course, they probably won't. They're probably at war with Britain, to be totally fair. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say what will happen there. But it'd be nice if the United States joined the Allies. But they're at war with Britain, so that's not going to happen. Never mind. Oh, that's not good for the Allies. No United States? You're fucked. The Comintern's coming for you. Pretty quickly. Oh, shit. So Hungary is at war with Romania and losing. Romania, Yugoslavia. So all these non-aligned nations are just really not going to make it. They don't have any allies anymore, and it's kind of desperate. You need allies now. Otherwise, you are screwed. You were entirely screwed without allies. Portugal's a mess. I wish they'd just give up. France, though, will fall soon, because... Oh. France was puppeted. France is now puppet. Or no, annexed. Annexed. Completely fucking annexed by Carthage. So Carthage is now a massive empire. They have a fuck ton of shit now. Now, if they need to redirect their units south. And, oh shit, holy crap. A lot of stuff here. Venezuela, Siam. So they're calling all these allies into Luxembourg. Punic! The Punic Wars! Oh, shit. Oh, my God. There's lots of stuff going on. Holy crap. Oh, my God. Portugal declared war on Yugoslavia. Everybody's declaring war on Yugoslavia. Did Yugoslavia swap? Nope. They're with them. So the Comintern nothing really changed there. The Allies are getting slowly pushed out of Europe by the looks of it. Yeah, they're fighting here. So they have Belgium, which does, to be fair, Belgium's army is actually not the worst in the world. They're not terrible. They have a few units. I think the British took a few of them, and Luxembourg also took a province, which is hilarious. But yeah, who was that? Yugoslavia. What the hell are they doing there? How did you get there? But I think Carthage now, they should be able to reroute their units south, take Portugal out. If they're smart, that's what they will do, is take out Portugal. I really hope they're smart enough to do that. Take out Portugal, and then Bourbon, France. Oh yeah, right, Bourbon, France would be... Oh shit, Yugoslavia took a ton of land. So where is Bourbon, France? Oh, okay. Where's their capital? So they're there. If we zoom out... Oh, hello. No, that's an ally. Where the fuck is Bourbon, France's capital at? So they have land in here, which is fine. They have the Netherlands as an ally. Or is that their capital, isn't it? I'm very confused. I'm so confused about what's going on there. So, wait a minute. So I'm the Netherlands, but this is Bourbon, France. Bourbon, France is puppeted by them? No, puppet state by them. So where the hell is Bourbon, France's capital at? I'm very confused about where the fuck their capital is. What? Fucking what? Where the hell is Bourbon, France's? They're part of the Axis. So let's just look for something that looks strange. Why the Axis really just shouldn't be. Is this them? Hey, there they are. They have Madagascar. Okay. Alright. Oh my. Do they even have any units, though? One, apparently. They have one. Oh, they have some. A few divisions. Okay, they got a couple divisions. They're not really any kind of power anymore, that's for sure. I just realized that Sweden and Norway are at war, and they're actually pretty heavily at war. And the Soviets are invading them pretty heavily. So the Scandinavia is going to fall. How are they doing against them? Not well. They pushed them back a little bit, but they look like they've just more so, like, put the line here. The Germans have taken some land. So it looks like the Germans have invaded with 2 tank divisions. No, 3 tank divisions. So that's good. Assist their allies there. So it's starting to come down to a big conflict over who is going to be the strongest faction. So Europe itself, there's only pocket fighting. So here, which isn't great for everybody involved, on the Allies and neutral Netherlands, they're going to get their asses kicked. You've got what's left of Portugal fighting Carthage. Hopefully Carthage can push them back. You've got neutral Switzerland and Yugoslavia and Romania fighting, and you have the Allies in Czechoslovakia. So that's pretty much all you have at this point. Like, if you come to this, like, Austria is Commintern. So, I mean, if everything goes as planned and they defeat the Allies and stuff all here, they'll probably go after Switzerland, Comintern there, and Czechoslovakia next, and then kind of move that way, because there's nothing else here unless they want to try to invade Britain. But good luck to them, honestly. Good luck. But that's I'm gonna pause it though. So this is what the map looks like, everybody. We have the Axis as the main power in Europe. Definitely Western Europe is the main power. You have the Comintern as definitely the largest reaching faction for sure. A lot of puppet states, though, so it makes you question the actual military power. The Axis have been annexing more so than puppeting, with the exception of France, that they puppeted in Madagascar and a little piece of South America. They annexed the main parts of France, so they've been more on the annexing side for that. And the Comintern's been very puppety, so it kind of makes you question the actual troop numbers of the Comintern, because they're not doing well against Japan, or at the very least they're neutralizing with Japan. This line hasn't changed much. They've pushed in a little bit, they pushed out a little bit, they push in a little bit, they push out a little bit. So that line hasn't changed much. Mind you, if Communist China can defeat United Front China and make them capitulate, that's a different story entirely. That could change everything, and India is also starting to lose to the Comintern. So if the Comintern can actually defeat all of Southern Asia and come up here, then that could be a different story. But for now, it's even between Japan and the Soviet Union and the Soviet Chinas. So if the Axis can actually manage to push through Europe fast and get to, an actual front war with the Soviet Union, it's hard to say who could win that one, because the Soviets themselves aren't actually that strong. So it's really hard to say. It'd also be interesting if the United States join the Axis, but they won't because they're at war with Germany. So unfortunately that won't happen. The United States will either have to stay neutral or form their own, which won't be good if they actually want to win anything besides America. Which, to be fair, it's the United States, so probably not. But anyway, but that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.